Hello, it's Amy and Tim from Go With Less, and we are back today with part 2 in our two-part series, Things We Notice Are Different Between the United States and Europe.
So these are things that we would notice as travelers, not necessarily what, if you were going to move here, that'd be a completely different scenario. These are just interesting observations that we've made along the way that we hope are somewhat entertaining.
We left off yesterday talking about toilets. That was Tim. Today, I get to talk about toilets to get started, so we'll get the toilet conversation over with early. Public toilets. This is one thing that the United States is rocking, is a public toilet. So they are so easy and available anywhere you go, and you may not need to patronize the business to use it or pay for them. These are not, this is not European. This is every time we've left the United States, we have a very difficult time with toilets. And we're not sitting down and eating all of our meals in restaurants. If so, that might make it kind of easy. We're getting things like salads often in the grocery store and eating on a park bench. There's no toilet available, and sometimes you might find like a freestanding situation where you pay in a city. But it can be tricky. So we've had to plan. Every time we see a free toilet, we use it whether or not we have to go. And like I said, this isn't a European thing. This is, the US just happens to rock a free public toilet.
I read an article just last week about interesting things in Europe, and one of the things that it said is that shorts are reserved for children in Europe. And so if you're wearing shorts, you better be a child, otherwise people are gonna look at you like you're a goofball. And so something that, I guess I am a goofball, but we see shorts on plenty of people that are locals, and so this does not seem to be a fact. Maybe if you're in a big city, if you're in Paris or something like that, but even in Paris, we've seen plenty of people in shorts. So I don't know, that it seems to me that plenty of people in Europe are wearing shorts. It's hot, and it's just a matter of comfort, and so people do it. We have had a different experience in Mexico City specifically, where it was a little unusual. We didn't see a lot of shorts there, but here in Europe, we've seen shorts aplenty.
Or in Spain. Yeah, in Spain we hadn't seen much in shorts, even though it was extremely, extremely hot. This is a couple years ago in June. And women, I'm not really seeing women wearing shorts. So women are, and I only brought one pair of shorts this whole trip, I barely wore them. But women tend to stick more with skirts and dresses, and if you're a woman, you probably know that skirts and dresses are way cooler to wear anyway. So when you're really hot, all I want to wear is a dress. So yeah, so that's just,
no dresses
so shorts
for me.
Shorts is kind of up in the air. So some cities are fine, some cities aren't. And what we have seen though are like the gym shorts that people might wear around in the States. They're not wearing those. So they're wearing kind of a little bit of a smarter look if they're wearing shorts, not schleppy shorts, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. And then I'm going to mention something that kind of goes back to transportation, which we left back there in part 1, is that if you haven't been to Europe and you're from the States, the countries are unbelievably close together. So you can get, so where we are, we could take an easy bike ride, like a half-hour bike ride, and we could be in France, Switzerland, and Germany, and they're all right there. And so that's kind of weird because that's where borders.
That just happens
to be where borders are.
Many of the countries here are smaller than some of the larger states.
Oh, many.
Back in the States. So
yeah.
It's a very sort of compact
Which
place
is
to be
great
seen.
because you can get around, you can see things kind of quickly. You don't have to be taking all day tours to get places. So the countries are very close together, which is probably why people visit so many of them when they do their trips here.
And that's one of the things. So it's super cool for us anyway. When you go across the border, things just change immediately. So it's a completely different world when you just go from France into Switzerland, or Switzerland and Germany, they all speak German. But anyway, it's a completely different world oftentimes when you just cross a border that's very
And it's
close.
pretty amazing to see that.
Amazing.
Although I guess we see that when we go in California to Tijuana, it is completely like a different universe, actually. So I guess we shouldn't be so surprised because it's a totally different universe.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's true. Moving on to groceries. So something that we ran into, we love a grocery store, and so pretty much any place we go, we're going to run into the grocery store if it's a new place for us. Something we've seen pretty consistently here is that groceries are affordable, just like it seems like around the world. Not every place, but groceries are generally affordable.
Everywhere but Switzerland.
Everywhere but Switzerland. Everywhere but Switzerland. And so, so that's been our experience here.
I'm going to talk a little bit about tap water. So water is one of my favorite beverages, believe it or not. And the tap water is consistently delicious. So what I'm used to in the States is that every city, every state certainly, but every city even, has its own taste to the water. not here. Like, it's yummy out of the tap water, delicious. We have been in restaurants that when you sit down at a restaurant, you may pay for tap water. So that's not consistent across every country here, but we've seen some countries it's a requirement that you have free tap water, and some it is you pay for it. But what we see is very common is that tap water isn't like a normal thing out and about at restaurants like it is at home. So at home it's very, very common. Here we're seeing that people are ordering a lot of water, either still water or fizzy water, but it's ordered, and tap water seems to be, like in general, not as normal.
Yep, and it's a little on the pricey side, I think, also for water. So it's often as cheap to buy a beer or a glass of wine as it is to buy water. So, but you got to drink something typically with the meal, and so if you're going to have water, you're going to pay for it. Speaking of alcohol, so at the grocery store, alcohol is also going to be cheaper than at a restaurant for the most part. And also, depending on the region you're in, alcohol can be like wine is cheap here in France, beer is cheap in Germany. So there's a wide variety of what alcohol costs are going to look like. But something else in the vein of beverages, so coffee, cheap. I'm a coffee drinker, and so in the morning I get up, I want to have a cup of coffee. Cheap takeaway coffee, just go grab a cup of coffee at McDonald's and it's going to cost $1. That doesn't seem to exist here. They want you to sit down and have a cup of coffee somewhere, and you're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Moving on to word salad. So an entree here in Europe.
Moving on to word salad?
That's right, word salad. So we mix things up. So here in Europe, an entree is an appetizer, whereas an entree back in the States means the main course. That is not the case here. So if you're looking at a menu and you're looking at an entree and you think it's cheap, it's because it's the appetizer course.
That's right. And when speaking of main courses, Tim and I, when we do go out to eat at home, we generally share a main course if we go out. That's something we have not seen done at all. So we're sharing maybe 2 appetizers or a main course, not done. So you can share. When I talk about share, I don't mean like having bites and sharing half and half. I mean take one on main course and split it is really what I mean. I don't mean share it, I guess. Splitting one between 2 people. Not something that we're seeing.
Yeah, it may be weird in the States, but it's just even weirder here. The other thing we want to mention is condiments. And so when you get a hamburger or French fries or something like that, they will give you 1 packet of ketchup or 1 packet of mayonnaise or whatever. And if you want additional condiments, you are expected to pay for these additional condiments.
They cost money.
Well, they cost money. You are going to pay.
It sounds like it's
unless
optional.
you steal them, so they're going to cost money.
No, it's at the register.
They're there and available for purchase. You're just not going to get them for free. Don't expect to get extra condiments for free like we would in the States. Not unlimited condiments.
Salad dressing is where I go to. There is a lot of salad dressing on most salads other than France. So our salads were kind of drowning. Normally, I would think that wouldn't be good. It has been delicious. So the salad dressings have been homemade, and this is, wow, salad dressing.
It was getting a little dark outside, so we decided that we were going to move inside. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see us. So the next topic we want to cover is smoking. So there are a lot of smokers here in Europe. It seems like I've read somewhere recently that there's up to 25% of the people, and I'm sure this varies widely from country to country, but are still smokers here in Europe. So what that means is that if you go out to a restaurant and you're on the patio, odds are really good that somebody or everybody on the patio is going to be smoking. If you go to a concert or some event, somebody's going to be standing right next to you smoking. It's not like there is a smoking area. People smoke everywhere. If you're walking down the sidewalk and you're just enjoying your day, there's going to be somebody walking down the sidewalk smoking. There is a lot of smoke here.
Not inside, though. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of fast food chain restaurants here. So we have seen, so it's not even close to how many we have in America, but there are a lot of fast food chains from the United States. Unfortunately, none of them, when Tim needed a cheap cup of coffee, none of them were near our hotel, so they're not that plentiful.
There are quite a few Starbucks, however, that does not qualify for me as a cheap cup of coffee. I'm never going to pay $6 for a cup of coffee. So. And
by the way, a Starbucks wasn't even near our hotels when he needed one. So even though I think it's a surprising amount of chain restaurants from the United States, like the fast food, not as many as in the United States. We don't go to any of these restaurants. We like to just go and see how much they cost. So we go and look and see how much a McDonald's menu costs. And it seems like a lot of the people in there are kind of young, like teenagers is what we're seeing.
Yeah, are tourists of different varieties, but we don't, like Amy said, we like to, we've never been in the KFC, but we've been into lots of Starbucks and lots of McDonald's because we just like to go in and look and
Just
see what's
price
going
shop
on.
and-
What's the pricing like? Do they have different things on the menu and things like that? Another thing that we've noticed is there is cursing in print advertisement. So English curse words, including like the F word, just in print advertising.
bank.
In the bank. It's like in a bank's ad, and there's the
You
F
might have
word.
the F word.
And so it's just interesting that they've adopted our curse words. It's just common language here. And it's
Not here, like
a little
here,
odd
like
to us.
yeah,
In
we
all of Europe,
sprinkled
we've seen
around.
this in different print ads. So we haven't watched a lot of television. We don't obviously listen to a lot of radio. And so we don't know what it's like there. However, in print advertising, we've seen quite a bit of this cursing.
And while we're on language, we had many places where we had no words of the language whatsoever. We are not expecting them to speak English at all. However, and in some places, the people we were working with didn't speak any English. Totally fine. That's not their job to know English. And we still got stuff done. So that's been really, they were very, very kind to us. So we've had really great experiences because we're coming into another country, not knowing the language, and they are bending over backwards to be very helpful. But there's a lot of pantomime. But if the not knowing a language or any of a language has chased you off from places, it still gets done. Stuff works out.
Yep. So here's just a cute anecdote. So at our house sit, there's a 9-year-old this year, a 9-year-old girl. She speaks German, she speaks French, she speaks English.
Fluently.
And so we're having a conversation with them, and I guess after the fact, her mom said that she was concerned about us. The 9-year-old was concerned about us because we only spoke English. And so
How are they going to do their shopping? So cute.
It's very cute. But we haven't had any problem at all. So I think just a few words in our bag of tricks, and we've been able to get along. So I think if you had a very complex situation, it may be challenging. But overall, it's easy just to get around, just using the language that you have available to you.
Yes. There's a huge one, and that is laundry. I was worried about how to do laundry before we left. It was a reasonable thing to be worried about because it was wackadoo. So wackadoo that we're going to dedicate a video to laundry in Europe because I couldn't find anything on YouTube, and I sure would have loved to get some information about laundry in Europe and couldn't find it. So we're going to create that, and that's going to be coming out in the next week or two. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe below. Comment. What have you found is different about Europe? Or if you're European or from another country, what do you find is different about the United States? We are so intrigued when we're traveling about what is different around other places. We're not complaining. Just so we know, we aren't complaining. We love seeing what's different. That's why we travel. So if there's anything of like people like that this should be more like America, that is we are not on that. That's why we left, is because we want to go see new things. We're just noticing where it's different because we celebrate that and we love it. And then if you have anyone who might enjoy this, please share it on your social media or share it with them. We would love that. Thank you so much for watching.